Now that number 46 is in the Oval Office, it's time to get down to work. Interest groups, supporters, and critics alike have a lot of expectations for President Joe Biden and some demands. For a glimpse at what they're asking and hoping for, Amanda Vinicky has more. Amanda.
Brandis, President Donald Trump frequently bragged about the soaring stock market and about how he was making life better for business by cutting red tape. But Jaime DePaulo, head of the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, says there are 120,000 Latino business owners in Illinois, many of them owners of small businesses with less than 20 employees. And he says they are less concerned with red tape and stocks. DePaulo says his top wish is that the Biden administration follows through on that pledge to distribute 100 million COVID vaccines within the first 100 days.
Obviously, as business owners, we'd like to see the economy reopen, but you also understand the issue of COVID. So the faster we tackle COVID, the faster we get those vaccines into people's arms, the faster we're going to be able to open our businesses. So we are hoping that that's going to happen.
Now, getting COVID under control is also top of mind for Karen Tamley. She's head of the disability rights organization Access Living. And that's because many individuals with disabilities live in congregate settings where it is difficult to contain the spread of COVID. Tamley actually had the chance to make her point of view known to the president because she was a member of Biden's transition team.
Advancing affordable, accessible, integrated housing, education, expanding home and community-based services so that our community can live independently in the communities of our choice with the support services we need, and then just really advancing civil and human rights of people with disabilities.
Tamley is also looking for the Biden administration to fully fund and support special education. Ann Whalen is the policy director at the education advocacy group Advance Illinois, and she says that $2 billion for education that was part of last month's COVID stimulus package signed by President Trump is a good start when it comes to education.
The Biden administration has already signaled its willingness to invest more to help our schools recover from COVID, to reopen, to really address that learning disruption, and that's desperately needed. So with his newly announced package for both childcare, for K-12, and for higher ed. We're extremely excited about that. He's also signaled his commitment to equity and to civil rights. So really placing back at the center of the role of the Department of Education, protecting all students.
She's also heartened that Biden has already, she says, made investing in early childhood education a focus. She says that's an area that research shows can pay dividends as children grow up. Meanwhile, Planned Parenthood Action of Illinois Director Jennifer Welsh says that under the 4 years of Trump, there was what she describes as a slow and steady harm to access to reproductive health care and education.
For example, millions of patients lost health care at Planned Parenthood when the Trump administration put in place the gag rule for Title X funded programs. So here in Illinois, that meant millions of dollars lost that went to family planning, well patient visits, STI testing and treatment.
Trump's appointment of 3 conservative U.S. Supreme Court justices who are young, so they'll likely be on the court for many years to come, was another setback for advocates of reproductive health freedom. Despite that, Welch says there is plenty for Biden and Harris to do.
So what we need the new administration to do as soon as possible is to eliminate the gag rule. And that's the global gag rule and the domestic gag rule, so that healthcare providers can talk about all forms of care, including abortion. They need to issue that executive order as soon as possible. Today would be great. Tomorrow's all right, too.
I also spoke with the head of the Chicago Federation of Labor, who says that Trump attacked unions' structural rights through the National Labor Relations Board, including efforts by the NLRB to eradicate the biggest, best-known rat, Chicago-born Scabby.
Attacking our ability to have timely elections and union certifications, and also, attacking our right. Scabby's a symbol of that fight, but it's essentially our ability to exercise our First Amendment rights while we're out publicizing our disputes with employers.
And for labor, Ryder says that Biden's choice of a labor-friendly Secretary of Labor and Marty Walsh is also a good start. And then he says that the Occupation and Safety Health Administration has been asleep these past 4 years, and he looks forward to OSHA once again enforcing safety rules under Biden's administration. Meanwhile, the head of Chicago's Council of American Islamic Relations, or CAIR-Chicago, says Trump brought what he says is a clownish perspective to the White House. He is encouraged that already President Biden has used his executive authority to overturn that so-called Muslim ban that forbids travel from mostly Muslim countries. But he says Biden can't stop there.
We are tired as American Muslims of being seen only through the lens of national security, whether instituting an executive order or repealing it. It's good that we're repealing a bad executive order, but our existence and our relationship with government doesn't begin and end in terms of national security. Our community is contributing to all facets of American life.
And Brandis, I know there is going to be a lot more on Biden's first executive actions as they relate to immigration coming up in just a bit. So with that, back to you.
Right, and of course coming up in Spotlight Politics, which is when we'll see you in a bit, Amanda. Thank you.